What we're watching unfold right now is absolutely wild. The American people are experiencing an incredible winter this year. Many people could freeze to death. It's an unusual cold spell, and it doesn't look like winter will end anytime soon. A colossal winter. Storm is sprawling across roughly 2,000 miles of American territory. We're talking New Mexico clear through to Maine. This is the kind of epic, multi-threat weather event that meteorologists will be analyzing and discussing for years to come. And here's the kicker. The brutally cold air settling in behind this beast isn't going anywhere for at least the next week. Oh, and just when you thought we'd catch a break, there are already hints of another potential winter wallop brewing as we head toward next Friday. Take a look at the current hazard map. You're seeing something genuinely unusual. One massive storm system has triggered warnings and advisories covering practically all of Texas, the entire state of Oklahoma, and pushing deep into the south. Louisiana and southeast Texas are under ice storm warnings, which, let me tell you, is not something you see every day down there. Those warnings snake northward through the Atlanta area, up into Kentucky, and all the way to West Virginia. Winter storm warnings blanket the mid-Atlantic, while watches extend as far north as Maine. This is the type of sweeping, coast-to-coast winter spectacle that only rolls through maybe once or twice in a generation. Quick side note, if you want specific forecasts for your area or city, drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer individually when I have time. Also, if you're enjoying this breakdown and want to subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Alright, let's keep going. Remember the legendary winter of 2013. When Winter Storm Nemo absolutely buried the Northeast under mountains of snow. Connecticut smashed a 24-hour snowfall record with 36 inches. Boston got hammered with nearly 25 inches. And get this, hurricane-force wind gusts exceeding 80 miles per hour tore through while the heavy snow was falling. That storm impacted more than 25 million people. What's developing right now? It rivals that scope, and honestly, the Arctic air component might actually be worse than what we dealt with back in 2013. Then there was the polar vortex winter of 2013-2014, which brought us the infamous snowpocalypse in Atlanta, where a measly 2.6 inches of snow completely paralyzed the entire metro area because temperatures in the mid-20s instantly turned wet snow into a skating rink. The Arctic air mass hitching a ride with this current storm is absolutely legit. Temperature departures are running 20, 30, and in some spots, nearly 35 degrees below normal. By the time you roll out of bed Monday morning, roughly 91% of the continental United States will be at or below freezing. Let that sink in for a moment. The upper-level system powering this monster is so massive that hurricane hunters actually flew multiple reconnaissance missions into it to collect atmospheric data. That's not standard procedure. Folks, it tells you how seriously the meteorological community is taking this event. Tonight is when things get really intense. The entire state of Texas is below freezing with some form of winter weather warning blanketing the state. When you see extreme cold warnings in the Rio Grande Valley, a place that rarely sees frost, you know something exceptional is happening. The last time Texas experienced anything remotely comparable was during that devastating February 2021 Arctic outbreak that knocked out the power grid. Oklahoma is catching the brunt of the heavy snow, with Oklahoma City staring down 6 to 12 inches and possibly flirting with the all-time single-storm record of 13.5 inches. Tulsa's expecting similar amounts. Convective snow bands will crank out extremely intense snowfall rates across the Panhandle. Through much of Oklahoma, into Missouri, and across Illinois, we're talking 2 to 3 inches per hour in some areas. Kansas City picks up another 2 to 4 inches, pushing storm totals into the 6 to 10 inch range. Texas presents a complicated precipitation puzzle. The Dallas-Fort Worth metro is looking at 1 to 3 inches of snow and sleet with significant ice buildup on top. Closer to the Red River, 3 to 5 inches of snow is possible. The Panhandle adds another 4 to 6 inches to the mix. Now, here's where it gets really dangerous. The lower Mississippi Valley is facing the most treacherous ice storm conditions. Ice storm warnings stretch across a corridor from southeastern Texas through Louisiana, Mississippi, and western Tennessee. Ice accumulation could reach 3/4 of an inch in the hardest hit zones, with some spots potentially seeing a full inch coating power lines and tree branches. That's enough to snap limbs and bring down power infrastructure. Memphis sits in a tricky transition zone. Expecting a nasty mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain with a 1/4 inch or more of ice, combined with temperatures plummeting to single digits by Monday morning. Power outages could drag on for days, possibly weeks in some areas. The Mississippi Delta faces the most severe ice accumulations, with northern Mississippi including Tupelo and Oxford potentially seeing ice totals approaching an inch. That would rival the catastrophic February 1994 ice storm that devastated this region. Little Rock is dealing with a true mixed bag of winter misery. Northwestern Arkansas, including Fayetteville, sees mostly snow with 4 to 6 inches possible. Central and southern Arkansas get absolutely brutal conditions from the combination of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, basically a recipe for travel disaster. Nashville sits squarely in the ice zone, expecting several inches of snow and sleet with over 1/2 an inch of freezing rain on top. Columbia, Tennessee could see 6/10 of an inch of ice coating. Everything. Atlanta is facing its most significant ice event since February 2014. Ice storm warnings are active. For the metro area, the first such warnings in over a decade. Accumulations of a 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of ice will trigger widespread power outages. Northern suburbs could see even higher totals approaching 3/4 of an inch. During the 2014 ice storm that followed Snowmageddon, hundreds of thousands lost power for days, with some folks waiting up to 2 weeks for restoration. This setup carries similar if not worse potential. The Carolinas are in for an extensive ice and mixed precipitation event. Charlotte expects around 1/2 an inch of freezing rain, causing major impacts, including power outages and essentially impossible travel conditions. Raleigh-Durham sees a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Greenville-Spartanburg sits in one of the worst ice corridors with 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch expected, and some upslope locations potentially seeing a full inch. Hendersonville and areas south of Asheville could see catastrophic accumulations. We're talking potentially crippling conditions. Northern Georgia outside Atlanta could see 8/10 of an inch in locations like Gainesville. Athens expects 1/2 an inch. Richmond expects 3 to 5 inches of snow and sleet falling rapidly before the mix begins. Blacksburg and Roanoke could see 5 to 6 inches of snow before any mixing occurs. Kentucky sees northern and western portions receiving 4 to 6 inches or more, with Lexington expecting 7 to 12 inches. Louisville could approach 15 inches in favored locations. That's serious snowfall. The Mid-Atlantic is looking at significant snowfall totals. Washington, D.C. expects 4 to 9 inches. Baltimore sees similar amounts. Western Maryland, including Cumberland and Hagerstown, sits in the heavier snow zone with 8 to 15 inches possible. Pennsylvania receives widespread heavy snow, with Philadelphia expecting 5 to 8 inches. Harrisburg and State College seeing 8 to 12 inches, and the Central Mountains approaching 15 inches. Pittsburgh expects 6 to 10 inches. Trenton's looking at 6 to 9 inches. The Northeast faces a legitimate blizzard scenario as the low-pressure system intensifies off the coast and morphs into a classic nor'easter. New York City is currently expecting around 10 inches. Long Island sees 8 to 12 inches. Southern Connecticut could exceed a foot. The Catskills have potential for 2 feet. You read that right. Buffalo expects 10 to 13 inches. Albany's looking at a foot. Boston is staring down 12 to 16 inches, making this the biggest snowstorm they've seen in several years. During the blizzard of 2013, Boston recorded 24.9 inches, the 5th highest single storm total in city history. Hartford could exceed a foot. Providence expects 10 to 14 inches. Vermont and New Hampshire see widespread. Double-digit totals across the board. The cold following this storm represents potentially record-breaking territory. Sunday morning brings minimum temperatures that will challenge or shatter around 11 records. Seeing single-digit readings in Oklahoma is exceptional. Corpus Christi dropping to 26 degrees tells you just how powerful this Arctic front really is. Monday morning. That's when things get truly Arctic. As the genuine cold air settles in, negative numbers are popping up in Texas, which is extremely rare and frankly alarming. Forecasters are projecting approximately 45 record low temperatures. It will be set or tied across the central and eastern United States. Whatever precipitation, falls weather, snow, sleet, or freezing rains, staying put on the ground. There won't be any significant melting for at least a week, maybe longer. The 2013-2014 winter featured a similar stubborn cold pattern, where snow that fell in January didn't fully melt until well into February. Some areas were dealing with ice and snowpack for over a month. Thank you guys. See you next video.